everybody, Wannabe Reviewer here, and welcome back to the Wannabe Podcast, episode 65. Before we begin this week's podcast, I just want to throw it out there that I'm going to try to keep this podcast, hopefully, I'm going to try to keep it brief, because honestly, I'm really tired. Thanks to a show that will go unmentioned until, a little bit while longer, basically I couldn't sleep. So I woke up early today, the day of the podcast, Friday, and I proceeded to watch some of the show before going to work. Had a full day of work, came home, watched the rest of the show, and, I'm trying to process all of that, and do a podcast on top of that. So yeah, I'm a bit tired, I'm feeling a little bit out of it. So I'm going to try to keep the podcast brief. But then again, I feel like lots of times I say I'm going to keep it brief, it ends up not being brief, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes, I guess. But there you go. Just want to throw that out there. As always, I had a week, guys. In fact, I feel like I had a pretty full week. So let's dive in. And as always, let's talk about anime. Now, anime-wise, nothing too exciting. Basically, I guess I'll just kind of talk about a show that I brought up last week. I'll talk about it one more time, then I'll kind of retire that one for a while. Hopefully I'll try to watch some more anime in the upcoming weeks. And then, of course, as some of them reach their ending, as I usually do, I'll bring them back for like a final opinion. So the anime that I talked about last week that I want to talk about again this week, just give a little brief continuation of it, was an anime called Science Fell in Love, So I Tried to Prove It. Now, anyone who remembers, that's the anime that I said, basically, there's like this research lab in a university, I guess, and one day, one of the researchers, she walks up to one of her coworkers, and she says, "I think I'm in love with you." Now, because they're both nerds, though, instead of doing the normal thing of talking it out, deciding if they want to, pursue a relationship or whatever, they start going through all these experiments because, when she says, "I'm in love with you," the guy's basically like, "Well, what's your proof? What's your data?" And so she starts listing all these things that she feels when she's with him, and he says it could be, circumstantial, and they need, actual, concrete proof. So they start doing all these experiments about, proximity to each other and heart rate, and they go on dates, and they try to make it the perfect date, and all sorts of just really funny, really dumb stuff. And the show's really nerdy with hypothesis and data collection and all sorts of things like that. I continue to have a lot of fun with the show. I think as of this recording, I think the show's up to episode 6, I want to say. So it's about halfway through. I think it's going to be 12 episodes, not too sure. But so far, continue to have fun with the series. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's really nerdy, really humorous. In the latest episode, just kind of to mention what's been happening. It's proceeded to the degree that the two, people who are in love, the two researchers, the guy and the girl, since other people work in the research lab with them, there's two other girls, another guy, and you can call him the head professor or whatever. They're like, "Yeah, we need to collect data, but to collect data, we need other samples, and we need control groups and stuff." So basically, they rope everybody from the lab into pairing off to see how data compares. So it's just really funny seeing how they do that, where everyone in the lab is paired off, not only with each other, but with the two lovebirds, and the professor too, even though the professor's married. So it's just this really funny, a lot of funny scenarios where everyone just paired off and all sorts of combinations, doing all sorts of, romantic things to see, what data they can collect. And like I said, it's just a really fun, really nerdy show, and so far I'm enjoying it. So I don't know, if you just want something that's very different, very nerdy, but humorous and stuff, then I suggest Science Fell in Love, So I Tried to Prove It. It is one of those shows that seems to be very widely available compared to some that sometimes, I try to share the show, but it's one of those weird, Netflix exclusives or Amazon exclusives or whatever. This one does seem like it's easy to find. I believe it's on Crunchyroll and Funimation, both services. So yeah, if you want to just see the show that's super nerdy, but it's romantic at the same time and just really goofy, then I recommend checking it out, and, there you go. Moving away from anime, which, like I said, hopefully I'll try to watch some more, in the coming weeks, but that was it for anime for now. Really quick, I actually watched a movie recently that I just did a review on, if you check out my channel, and I just want to talk about it really quickly, and that movie was 1917. Directed by Sam Mendes, who I think is probably best known for directing James Bond Skyfall. 1917, basically, you know, you can go check out the review on my channel. You know, I'll probably, I don't know, have like the little icon pop up, you know, here in the podcast or whatever. But, you know, just like a brief little summary or whatever. 1917, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, like, interesting, really well put together movie that was a lot of fun. Well, I mean, I guess fun's kind of a weird word for it since it is like a war movie. But yeah, basically it's this movie set in World War I, and we follow these two soldiers. I believe they're both lance corporals, and basically when the movie starts, they're both sleeping in a field. They get awoken by like this superior officer, and they're called to like a tent, and basically both soldiers, they're given a mission. Even though Britain thinks that they have Germany on the ropes because of how Germany retreated, they're like, you know, we have like this new like airplane footage or whatever, that even though Germany has retreated, it's not because like they're losing or whatever, it's because they're trying to stage a trap against Britain. So if, you know, such and such, you know, battalion or whatever attacks, you know, tomorrow at dawn, you know, something like that, there's like a certain time limit, then like over like 1,600 lives will be lost. And included in those lives, you know, of the soldiers, one of them is actually the older brother of one of the two soldiers, you know, that we're following. So basically, you know, that's what makes it really personal. One of the soldiers, his brother's life is on the line. For both soldiers, you know, they want to save these lives, and they do seem to have like some sort of history. They are friends. And so basically they're tasked with this, you know, assignment where it's like, here, take this letter, deliver it to such and such battalion. You know, they're way deep, like in the woods across, you know, no man's land in German territory. Deliver this message. You know, you have until, like I said, like dawn tomorrow, something like that, and stop them from attacking, or else all the lives will be lost. And so I thought the premise, you know, I talked about in my review, I really like the premise. I think the premise is really interesting. I think compared to other war movies where it's always about, you know, some big battle, or it's about, I don't know, kind of like following a soldier, you know, trying to rise through the ranks, you know, boot camp or whatever. I thought this was really unique, you know, like it's a pretty interesting perspective for a war movie that I don't feel like I've seen before. And so I like that. I like the characters. I thought they had good chemistry. I thought the acting was really good. From a technical standpoint, I think the movie was like really, really well done. Basically, it's all done to be made like it's a one-shot movie, which means that it literally looks like the camera's just following them the whole time with no cuts or transitions. Though, you know, as you progress, there's kind of some obvious parts where there are cuts, but for the most part, you know, it basically seems like it's one shot. Like, they did a really, really good job of making it like seem this way. It's like, that was really impressive. The cinematography was really good. You know, I've mentioned in my review, but I'll say it again. There's this one part where there's a city that's basically destroyed. There's a fire in the distance. You can see it's kind of lighting everything up. I believe, I don't know if it's like flares or artillery or getting shot into the sky. And as you see like this town just light up from like the fire and artillery, and you have like this haunting music, it is like incredible. I love that moment. It's like beautiful, yet like really creepy, you know? And yeah, I mean, I just really like the movie. I don't really know what else to say. I would say check out my review if you want more information. Besides that, I just recommend watching it. And like I said, it's just called 1917. I believe it should still be in theaters for a while longer. And, you know, so far, it's gotten like a lot of nominations for different awards. And I say it deserves them. You know, I think it's a pretty well put together movie. So I think it's pretty good. So I think it does deserve a lot of the attention it's getting. So there you go. Alrighty, shifting gears, I guess I'm gonna mention that show that I said at the beginning would not be mentioned for a bit. But yeah, sure enough, the second part of BoJack Horseman Season 6 hit Netflix earlier today, you know, early in the morning. And so sure enough, I watched all the episodes. And man, it's just so hard describing BoJack Horseman because I just feel like I don't have the words to articulate it. I just feel like there's just so much happening in this show, and I especially feel like it's weird trying to sell the show to someone who maybe hasn't seen it before, you know, so I'm not even really sure how to approach it. But all I can really say is that even though the show looks ridiculous, you know, you're following this alcoholic horseman who used to be like a big actor in the 90s, you know, Bob Saget style, you know, the sitcom. And now he's just like this depressed alcoholic that like, you know, he's trying to make a comeback or whatever. Like, even though it just like seems like a really kind of ridiculous show, you know, you think it's gonna have a lot of the adult humor a lot of adult shows have, where it's just really vulgar and silly, and that's what makes it adult. Like, I don't know, even though it does have a lot of dumb stuff in it, really like goofy puns and, you know, imagery and stuff like that, at the same time, it is like one of like the most well-made like deep shows I've ever seen. Like, it's just incredible, you know, having watched the whole show. I literally feel like it kind of like changed me, you know, as someone who like never diagnosed, but as like a teen, I really did suffer from like depression. And I've always, you know, even now I still kind of deal with, I don't know, feelings of feeling like I'm not good enough and I don't know what I'm doing with my life and just, I don't know, so much negativity, you know, so much negative thoughts and stuff. Like this show, the way it addresses stuff like depression and negative thoughts and hating yourself and, you know, like the way it addresses stuff so raw is like, incredible. And I don't know, it's just crazy because BoJack, he is the protagonist, but at the same time, he's not a hero, you know? Even though you see all the things he's going through and you do root for him, at the end of the day, he is a very flawed, bad person that does hurt a lot of people around him. And so there's also this interesting thing of like redemption and like, do people deserve to be happy and to have a second chance, you know? BoJack's done all these bad things and he's caused so much pain to those around him and like, I don't know, he's just like he's honestly like a bad person. So, you know, in season 6, I guess, you know, without spoiling it, a lot of it is him trying to finally sober up, you know, turn his life around, you know, make amends with the things he's done. But at the same time, it's like, well, does he deserve to be happy though? Does he deserve to be happy and just be able to like get a fresh start, even though he like did all these terrible things to all these people? Or like, does he deserve to keep suffering the way, you know, he made those people suffer? And so I don't know. It's just like I said, it's just like this incredible show. I don't know. I just followed it, you know, ever since probably like day one. Didn't know what to expect for the show, but I fell in love with it. And I don't know. I mean, I know the humor's not for everybody. I have a friend that, you know, a couple friends, I tried to tell them to watch the show. They couldn't really handle it. You know, it's not their sort of thing. But I think that, you know, I think you should give it a chance. Definitely season 1 is kind of weak. If you can get past season 1 and keep watching the show, then I think it's the kind of show that it's not for everybody, but for people that it clicks, I think it's going to click hard, you know? Like, if you watch it and you don't enjoy it and you don't take anything away from it, I mean, that's fine. Like I said, it's not for everybody. But I think if you can get, like, through season 1 and if you can get invested in the show, then I don't think you'll regret it. I think you'll enjoy the ride because it's just such a crazy ride. Voice acting is phenomenal. The direction is crazy with, like, some of the, ways they experiment with the show and the way they do episodes, you know, like there's a whole episode that takes place underwater. There's like no dialogue and like that's really crazy. There's a whole episode, you know, that became really popular from like a year or two back called Free Churro. Basically the whole thing is just BoJack giving a eulogy. And so it's just, you know, the actor Will Arnett basically just delivering a monologue for like 20 minutes straight. Like that was a crazy episode. And so yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say about it. I want to do a review about it, hopefully in the near future. I don't know though, because like I said, I don't even know if I have the words to describe what the show is and like what I think it's trying to say. But all I can say is I enjoyed the show. I loved it. I loved every second of it. And like I said, I would suggest for everybody to try it out. I recommend it to everybody. And you know, like I said, you know, if you try to watch it and it doesn't click, that's fine. But I think if it clicks with you, it will click hard. And it's one of those things that you'll enjoy immensely. So there you go. Alrighty, shifting gears over to the world of video games, I played 2 things, you know, this week, although neither of them is, like, too high of note, you know, but I still thought I'd really, like, mention them, I guess. The first is that I continued to play Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, you know, talked about it last week. Basically, I dived back into Kingdom Hearts, cleaned up some stuff, you know, did some leveling up, that sort of thing. Then I played the DLC, and yeah, this week, didn't play it too much, you know, but I did do some of the organization fights here and there. Really got a lot of the footage that I used for my review that just went up. And I don't know, I mean, even though a lot of people, their experience with the Kingdom Hearts series is very soured. Some people didn't enjoy Kingdom Hearts 3, and they for sure didn't enjoy the DLC. I mean, just as I said, you know, like last week, I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoy the series. I'm all up for whatever crazy direction it takes. And I don't know, I mean, it's, even though a lot of people are like, they seem to be really upset because they feel like, oh, you know, like the game wasn't like revolutionary and it didn't answer the questions we thought it was going to answer, that sort of thing. I still enjoyed it, you know, I had a good time with it. And, you know, do I kind of think that it should have been less than $30? Yeah, I think honestly it would have been like $20, maybe $15, that would have been better. But, you know, as I kind of put on, it was somebody's, I think I want to say it was Spongic X's review. Even though I wish the DLC had been cheaper, at the same time, I don't really see myself crying over $30. You know, as a working adult, I feel like when you have a job, you know, and you have money, either you're gonna like use the money on some sort of temporary pleasure, you know, like alcohol or food or video games or whatever you're into, or you're gonna save it, you know? And so, oh wow, you know, I didn't save these $30, or I didn't use these $30 for food. I used it on the video game. Fine. Whatever, it's just $30. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC. Continue to have fun with it. I continue to play through it, slog through it. I'm hoping to eventually beat all the organization members, because man, do they keep kicking my ass. But I've had fun with it. And like I said, I recommend it. I think if you're a huge enough fan of Kingdom Hearts, and I think if you did have fun with Kingdom Hearts 3, like the base game, then I think you'll have fun with it. So there you go. The other game that I played, more, you know, I just kind of dived into it just a little bit, is that I played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to try out the new character, Byleth, which I hope I'm saying that character's name right. I've actually never heard it, and I've never really bothered to look it up, but hopefully the character's name is Byleth. And yeah, I just, you know, dove in, tried the character out for a bit, you know, played a few matches, and honestly, you know, the character was kind of underwhelming. Their stage feels like all the other Final Fantasy stages. I mean, not Final Fantasy, sorry. Their stage feels like all the other Fire Emblem stages to me. It's just, oh, here's kind of like a patio you fight on, and characters just kind of look at you in the background. Didn't find it too exciting. The music is fine, but it's nothing too unique, honestly. And gameplay-wise, Byleth is fine. I do think that it is kind of fun, the way they switch to different weapons, but I don't know, it doesn't feel that different from, I don't know, let's say Link, right? Like, you know how Link has like a bow and arrow? It's like, oh cool, another character that has like a bow and arrow as an option. Or, I don't know, even items you can pick up in the game. Like when you pick up that big sword thing, then when you swing it, it makes like cyclones, tornadoes or whatever. There's a weapon that Byleth has that's just like a big old heavy like bludgeoning thing that it feels like it does the same thing. So, you know, I'm gonna be honest, Byleth did feel a bit underwhelming, but it is what it is, you know. I bought the DLC pass since like day one, and so even if I didn't like the character, I was gonna get them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But, you know, Byleth is fine. Hopefully, whoever's into the character, you know, good for you. And the one I'm actually really excited to try out, because like I said, I only played Smash Ultimate a little bit, but I do want to like dive, you know, back in to play like some more, maybe do like the Spirit Board, that sort of thing. The character that I'm really excited to try out is Cuphead. Like, even though it's just the Mii costume, I like really look forward to like just buying Cuphead and, you know, playing as Cuphead, having the music track in the game. Maybe I'm thinking of maybe buying the Altair costume from Assassin's Creed. You know, maybe I'll add that costume as well. I don't know. But yeah, it's funny because I'm more excited to try out the Mii costumes and get the music than Byleth. But, you know, it is what it is, so there you go. But yeah, you know, if you're a Byleth fan, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'm just missing something, you know, maybe there's some hidden techniques or something that I'm not appreciating. But yeah, for now, Byleth was just fine, so yeah. Alrighty guys, and that's basically it for my week. It's funny because going over it, it felt like that was very brief. But I don't know, I mean, the things that I did do, I feel like they took up a big part of my week, you know? Like BoJack, that basically took up all of like my Friday before recording this. Kingdom Hearts and, you know, Smash, that took a big part of my week, you know, here and there when I had free time after work. And yeah, 1917, you know, that was, you know, like the same thing. That was like what I big thing last weekend and putting the video together and stuff. So I don't know, I'm proud of my week, even though it did feel kind of brief, you know. And hopefully you enjoy listening to my week. And as I said, in the upcoming week, I'll try to bring forth more anime. I'll try to see about watching more movies, that sort of thing. Because yeah, over on my channel, you know, I'm really trying to like hit that stride with video content. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. You know, I don't want to like miss a single, you know, week or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. Moving over to news, of course. News, I feel like it will be pretty brief because most of them are just like announcements or like rumors, I guess you can say. None of them are like too big, but regardless, I do think they are interesting stories like to keep an eye out for. So when it comes to our first news story, as the title of the article states, report, Konami has 2 new Silent Hill games in development. So I don't really know what to think about this. I know that a lot of other fans, they're also cautiously optimistic. Basically, Konami, they were working on that title with Kojima's Silent Hills. At this point, everybody knows that went sour. Kojima got fired from Konami. The game got canceled, all that good stuff. And even before then, the Silent Hill games had kind of taken a bit of a downward spiral, Like, I don't know, I guess Downpour was okay, but like the one before that, Homecoming, I would say that game is terrible. Like, I feel like the lighting is off. The combat just feels really weird. Like, it's not even a Silent Hill game. It just focuses too much on like being a big old army man who like wields guns and does melee. And the story was just a big mess. And I don't know, like for a while, I feel like some of those last games weren't that great. I feel like they were kind of, all over the place. So I don't know, hearing that Konami has 2 new games in development, I know people are worried they're going to be mobile titles, they're going to be pachinko titles, that sort of thing. They're worried that even if they are actual like games, people are worried that they might like not have the same magic as some of those older titles. But regardless though, I guess we have to wait and see. As someone in the comments section of the article I'm linking, someone said, they're probably waiting for the next gen consoles to hit. And maybe that's when they'll like really dive in. They think maybe that's when we'll hear like more news or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Until then, I would say remain cautious about this. Even if you are a big fan of Silent Hill and you want to get excited because, oh man, Konami's back, I would stay cautious because, Konami hasn't really been Konami for like a decade or two now. They've been kind of crappy. So even though I wish the best and I'm hoping for the games to be good, I would be cautious until we hear otherwise, But like I said, it's a good thing to keep an eye out for. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. Will it be like a reboot? Will it be a continuation? Will it be mobile titles, pachinko titles? Will we be surprised and they'll pull Capcom and they'll listen to fans and make these great games? Who knows? But for now, links in the description below if you want to read about it. Let's move on. Moving on, this next news story, I thought it was really funny. I wanted to share it. I think it's the kind of thing where like, man, it's just another reason to appreciate Reggie, Fils-Aimé, and all he did for Nintendo. But I don't know, it's just such a funny story, just like the thinking of Reggie just like putting a stop to it. But as the title of the article states, Reggie saved us from more Attitude Era style edgy Nintendo logo changes. So yeah, basically the article's really funny, but it says that during like the early 2000s, I'm trying to scroll down actually so I can read the exact quote, but it says right here that in a recent interview, I guess they had with, former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé, he was reminiscing about his time in the company, and he says that when I joined Nintendo, there was a sense of almost shame that Nintendo appealed to young consumers, and the marketing team at Nintendo of America started doing things with the logo. He says, that classic Nintendo logo in an oval, they would put it into graffiti style, or they do different things to try and age up the logo. And I put a stop to that because that is not our brand. So yeah, I just think it's really funny imagining, during the early 2000s. It makes sense because even now, Nintendo kind of has like this stigma that, if you're like an adult, you play on the Xbox or you play like on the PlayStation. And if you're a little kid, you play on your Switch or like your Nintendo because, bright, colorful, like kids games or whatever. And, this was especially heavy, during the 2000s. I remember that like, if you didn't have a PS2 and if you had like a GameCube, like a lot of people would make fun of you because, I was seen as like really being really childish or whatever. Same with like the Wii. Those like no like really mature titles. And it just sounds really funny, just Reggie reminiscing that when he joined, Nintendo is like, oh man, should we like be hip with the kids? Should we like do stuff with the logo? And, like make it like a like graffiti tag or like just edgy stuff like that. And I don't know, just the fact that Reggie put a stop to that and he's like, no, we're not going to go for any of these gimmicks. That's stupid. That's great. Like I said, it's just another reason to love Reggie because yeah, I think if Nintendo had done that, they would have like totally embarrassed themselves, I think. Like if they thought the ridicule was bad, already, like that would have made them look so desperate. It would have made them look so, oh, we're hip with the kids and stuff. So yeah, the fact that, Reggie said, no, that's not our brand. instead of focusing on gimmicks and logos and this sort of thing, we'll let our games talk for us. I don't know, I just think that's really cool. And so I just wanted to share this story because I think it's so funny that instead of, going with this edgy, oh, we're so hip with the kids, we're edgy and we have attitude or whatever, the fact that Reggie said no, put a stop to it, and he saved Nintendo from that. I think that's really cool. Like I said, I think it's just another reason to love Reggie. And I don't know, it's just a funny thing to think about. Nintendo just trying to be edgy. I don't know, it just makes me laugh. That's why if you check out my thumbnail, I put, some sort of like a render that has like an edgy Nintendo graffiti logo. And I actually found this image of Mario from some sort of an advertisement where he has a tribal tattoo. Like, that is an actual advertisement. And I don't know, it's just funny. Like, imagine if Nintendo had totally gone in that direction. That would have been wild, So, I don't know. There you go. Alrighty, moving on to my final video game news story. This is one that, oh man, it's just so divided. I know a lot of people are not happy, but as the title of the article states, Pokemon Home launches in February. Details. So we have details of Pokemon Home. For anyone who doesn't know, Pokemon Home is the new cloud service, I guess you can call it, that it's going to allow you to store your Pokemon from now on, and it's going to allow you to transfer from older games to the Switch titles, I guess. And man, a lot of it, I gotta admit, I don't really understand it. If you try to look at the chart that shows how you transfer from one game to another or whatever, the chart just looks like a huge, confusing game timeline. It just branches out all sorts of directions. It's a huge mess. But from what I understand, it has a lot of features. It's going to come with a lot of features like being able to store your Pokemon. There's going to be a national dex within Pokemon Home itself. There's going to be the Wonder Trade, which is where, you just throw a Pokemon in, it gets traded to somebody randomly, and then one of their Pokemon randomly comes to you. They're going to have the global trade system, where basically you can say, hey, I'm looking for, let's say, a female Scorbunny. I'll trade it for my male Grookey, and it's where you specifically trade specific things you're looking for, so that's kind of cool. I think there's going to be an option for chatting with friends or something. There's going to be an option for mystery gifts and judging people's Pokemon, something like that. I mean, you can read the article. It's quite lengthy. It describes all the stuff it has. But the part that, the meat of the article, the part that obviously upsets people is that it's been revealed that there's going to be a free version, I guess you can call it, and a premium paid version. And the premium paid version, you can either pay for a month for $2.99, 3 months for $4.99, or 12 months for $15.99. And of course, if you pay the premium plan, that's where you have every single thing included. If you only have the basic edition or whatever, then it is very cut down. I think you can only store 30 Pokemon. I think you can't even take them out of the Pokemon bank, to transfer them to the Switch. I think you can only leave them in the program itself, stuff like that. And so yeah, obviously people are not happy. People are very divided about this. Some people, they say whatever, it's just the way things are, there's always been a big hassle to trade Pokemon. This is no different. Some people point out that back in the day, you had to have different copies of the game and the cables and all that good stuff. Other people though are pointing out that it is starting to get a little ridiculous because you have to pay for Switch Online, which is $20, plus another $16 for the Pokemon Home. Plus, you have to have an edition of Sword and Shield. And I guess if you want more content, you have to pay for the $30 on top of that for the DLC. Honestly, I gotta admit, I'm pretty divided on it too. I don't really know what to think about it yet. So yeah, it's just, people are all over the place. Some people are defending it, some people are not. And like I said, I don't really have an opinion at the moment. I don't really know if I want to buy this or not yet, because I'm not even done with Pokemon Sword and Shield yet. I'm still playing through it. But yeah, I guess it's one of those things that I might have to make a decision on one of these days. And I don't know, I guess maybe once I have to face the decision and once I decide to buy it or not, and once I feel like it's worth it or not, I guess that's where I'll kind of really state my opinion. But for now, I just think that the whole thing's a mess. And I can see both sides. I can see why people are upset. I can see why people think it's not that big of a deal because, it's always been a mess or whatever. But for now, all I suggest is, you're free to read the article. It's going to be in the description below. Like I said, it's quite lengthy, describing all of the different features. And for now, that's all I would say. Just read up on it, form your own opinion. And yeah, that's basically it. For now, let's just move on. Alrighty, moving on to movie news. The live-action remake of animated films is nowhere near stopping. And as the title of this article states, Bambi is Disney's next animated movie getting live-action adaptation. So yeah, if you thought that it was slowing down, it's not, It looks like it's one of those things where I think Disney isn't going to stop until they've basically remade all their movies, That's unfortunate because most of the time I do feel like they do a bad job. Out of like the live action remakes, I think the only ones I've really enjoyed were The Jungle Book and Lady and the Tramp. I thought Lady and the Tramp was done pretty well. Same thing with The Jungle Book. I felt like the animals had like emotion, and I felt like I felt like the movie, it felt like it was worth watching. But besides that, everything else has just been really from mediocre to bad, But I don't know, it's the kind of thing where if it's made, people probably will watch it. So all we can really do is, if you don't like it, don't watch it. And it's gonna happen, so don't freak out too much about it. Just like tell yourself, it's gonna happen. Disney isn't gonna stop until they remake all their movies. So, save yourself the heart attack. And I don't know, I'm trying to look through the article to see if there's anything that seems like it's worth mentioning. I don't know, the people who are behind it, it's kind of awkward. It says that the only previous credit they have is for the 2018 Tomb Raider reboot and Captain Marvel, which neither of those is that great, honestly. Like, Captain Marvel, I would say was a waste of time. I feel like the character, like, you don't really, I don't know, I just, did not like that movie. And a lot of people were, the degree of hating it. And the Tomb Raider reboot, it was fine, but it was nothing special. So, I don't know, when you see that the people behind this movie are people who have pretty, background, that doesn't really give me, a lot of hope in the project. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, it's going to happen no matter what. So if you don't want to watch it, just don't watch it. And yeah, don't stress out because Disney's in charge and they're not going to stop until they feel like they've had their fill. So yeah, kind of a negative ending to the story, but it is what it is. So there you go. Shifting over to the next news story. And speaking of a negative ending to the story, it was quite unfortunate, but during the last weekend, Kobe Bryant, who played for the Lakers for he played for the Lakers for a long time. If you read in the article, he won 5 NBA championships with them. Kobe Bryant passed away at age 41. At this point, I feel like probably everybody knows about the story. I feel like it's been all over the news and social media, that sort of thing. But, I still want to share it because, number one, I think it's really unfortunate. I think it sucks that, from what we learned, Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 other people, they were in a helicopter. They were basically heading to Kobe Bryant's daughter's basketball game. And, among the other people, there was a fellow teammate of his daughter, there was the other parents, that sort of thing. And unfortunately, they were flying a helicopter, and I guess they got into an accident. And yeah, it's just one of those things that's unfortunate because you hear about people using helicopters all the time, and I guess you kind of assume that it's safe. But just like a car crash, it can happen at any time, and unfortunately, that's what happened here and brought an end to all these people's lives, So I think that's really sad. I think it sucks to see this player snuffed out so young. He was only 41. As for his daughter, I think she was only 13. And, all these people just died. I think it's sad to see these lives snuffed out. So I would just say, rest in peace. Condolences to the family. And something I wanted to share because I thought it was interesting, and it ties into the whole movie aspect, I guess you can say, because, this is movie news technically. I didn't know that Kobe Bryant was a Oscar winner. I'm actually going to look up his short, but yeah, if you read the article, it says Bryant won an Oscar in 2018 for his animated short film, Dear Basketball. And it says he became the first former professional athlete to be nominated for and receive an award. So, I mean, I knew all about him being like a basketball star. I knew about him playing for the Lakers. Throughout the years, I've heard good about him, I've heard bad about him, all that stuff. But yeah, I just thought, a little interesting tidbit. Not only did I want to share the story because, it's tragic, and like I said, condolences to the family, and, rest in peace to the people who died, but I just kind of want to throw it out there that, yeah, Kobe Bryant was an Oscar winner. Apparently he made like this little short film about basketball, what it meant to him, and it won an Academy Award. So I just thought that was really interesting. Wanted to share that. I'm going to try to look up the little animated short because I am very curious now. And I don't know. I just, like I said, whenever someone passes away, it's kind of awkward. Don't really know how to like end the, section or whatever. But all I can really say is rest in peace to the people who died. My condolences to the family. And just, I guess, let's move on, I guess. Alrighty guys, finally, the last news story that I wanted to share is an anime news story, and I don't remember if I talked about this one earlier, like, before in the year. I might have made like a passing mention at it, but basically, as the title of the article states, BNA Preview reveals additional cast and staff. And basically, I feel like I had heard about this anime before. I feel like I'd mentioned it in passing, maybe when I first mentioned Promare. But I'm really excited. Basically, scheduled to premiere in April 2020. Studio Trigger has this new anime called Brand New Animal. Or, it's just abbreviated to BNA. And yeah, they have like a preview available so you can watch it. And I'm excited. I think it looks really fun. If you watch the preview, I think the visuals look really good. The show just seems like it's going to be very, I don't know. I mean, Trigger always does really good work of just having like these bright, colorful, really well animated series. And, following the link that describes what the show's about, it just seems like it's going to be like this really fun story. To kind of read the synopsis or whatever. It says, in the anime story, in the 21st century, the existence of animal humans came to light after being hidden in the darkness of history. Michiru lived life as a normal human until one day, she suddenly turns into a tanuki human. She runs away and takes refuge in a special city area called Anima City that was set up 10 years ago for animal humans to be able to live as themselves. There Michiru meets Shiru, a wolf human who hates humans. Through Shiru, Michiru starts to learn about the worries, lifestyle, and joys of the animal humans. As Michiru and Shiru try to learn why Michiru suddenly turned into an animal human, they unexpectedly get wrapped up in a large incident. So I just thought the premise was really interesting. I just think that there being this world where, animal hybrids have always lived in the shadows and like now they're coming out sounds interesting. The fact that this girl, kind of is parts of both societies. She's a human who gets mysteriously transformed into like this animal hybrid and she's trying to discover why it happened. And, she's kind of like the bridge between both worlds. I think that's really interesting. And yeah, just being a Trigger show. Trigger just always makes really interesting, really hype anime. Like I said, their stuff is always just really bright and colorful, full of action. They always find a way to really escalate it as the series goes on. And so yeah, here the fact that it says in the last sentence that they unexpectedly get wrapped up in a large incident, I'm just excited with thoughts of where it can go. If it really does involve basketball, which it seems like it's hinting that it really involves basketball, like it's a big part of it. A lot of people are saying like, oh man, it'd be great if it reached like Space Jam levels of story, where it just becomes like this like super story in space with aliens and basketball and all sorts of hype moments. That'd be cool. And yeah, guys, all I can really say is I'm excited. I'm always excited for stuff by Trigger. I think they make some really fun anime. This comes out really soon. It comes out in April, which is like a few months away. And I don't know, if you're a fan of Trigger, I would say check out the preview below. I'm really excited. And yeah, hopefully, when the anime comes out, I'm going to try to watch it, give you guys my opinion on it, and hopefully it lives up to the hype. Hopefully it ends up being a fun show. Until then, if you're excited, keep looking forward to it. I know I am. So there you go. Alright guys, and with that being said, that brings us to the end of this news week. As I had said at the beginning, I feel like the news stories were kind of short, though some were a little more meaty, like the Reggie one, and like the brand new animal one, I do feel like most of them were kind of just like announcements or like rumors, when it comes to Konami, that sort of thing. But regardless, hopefully, I try to have like a range of stories. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You found something to be educational, informative, that sort of thing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the news this week. And of course, before we wrap up, as always, I want to move on to the content creator spotlight. This time though, it will be a little bit different compared to usual where I pick like one creator themselves or like a handful of them. This time, my content creator spotlight is actually the whole, as a whole, the Animators Subreddit. And the reason for that is that, recently I've been thinking about doing some new stuff for the channel. I've been thinking about making some animations, for intros, that sort of thing. Not only that, but I've always been a fan of animation. I've been subscribed to the Animators subreddit for a while, and it's the kind of thing where every so often I jump into the Animators subreddit, watch what people have to offer, and I've always been really impressed, It's all these people, just, amateur animators sharing things they work on. Like some of them, it's kind of like more of an anime style. Some of them, it's more like the style of, let's say, like The Odd One's Out, if you've seen his work. Some people, it's more like stick figure-ish. Some people, it almost looks like watercolor. And I don't know. For whatever reason, I was just really browsing the subreddit earlier this week. And I was like, you know what? I can't really focus on a specific animator right now. So what about I just put into the spotlight the whole subreddit? Because, if you scroll through, I just think you'll have a fun time seeing all these different projects from different really, creative and really like artistic people, like really awesome like projects and stuff. So yeah, even though it's a little bit different, I'm not pointing at a specific person, I would say, if you have some time, head on over to Reddit, check out the Animators subreddit, and yeah, just take some time to scroll through and look at all these different projects and all these different animators and artists and stuff. I just think it's really interesting. And, as I usually say, usually I say to subscribe to people or comment or that sort of thing to show them love. I mean, I guess in this case, just go through, like their posts. If you like their stuff, follow their YouTube channels, that sort of thing. And not only that, but if you like it, you can always join the Animators subreddit, which basically means that, every time something new is posted, it'll show up in your like subreddit feed or whatever. So I don't know, it's kind of different, but that's my content creator for this week, the whole, Animators subreddit. And I don't know, if you do manage to somehow head on over there and you do check out people's work and, you end up falling in love with someone's stuff and you either comment or like or end up following them on YouTube, then as I always say, if you show them some love, tell them Wannabe Reviewer sent you. There you go. Alrighty guys, and with that being said, that brings us to the end of another podcast. That is one more in the bag. Looking over at the time, wasn't a very short podcast, but it wasn't a very long one either. It was kind of in the middle, so I guess that's kind of cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my podcast. Hopefully there was something you guys got out of it. Whether it was me, introducing you guys to the Animators subreddit, going over one of the news stories like Reggie stopping Nintendo from being edgy. I still love that one. Or, hearing me rant about stuff like BoJack Horseman, which seriously, check out the series, guys. It is great. Coming up on the channel, I want to do a review of BoJack Horseman. Like I said, I'm not too sure if I'll get to it though, because I feel like that's a big project, because that show just has so much going on. So I'll see what I end up reviewing. If not BoJack, then I do have some other stuff in mind. When it comes to streaming, didn't really have a chance to stream this last week, but by the time this podcast goes out, hopefully late Friday, early Saturday, I should be streaming during the weekend, actually. I plan to stream maybe a little bit of Smash, for the new character, and Cuphead, hopefully a little bit of Pokemon. I think that'd be fun. So I'm over on twitch.tv/wannabe_reviewer. Hopefully you can join me for when I stream. And with that being said, guys, that's basically it. Have stuff coming up. Look forward to it. If you have any suggestions for anything that you want me to cover, I'm always free of suggestions too. That's always cool. And until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. My name is Wannabe Reviewer. I will try my best to be back here next week for episode 66. Yeah, that's basically it, guys. I'll catch you next time.
Back in the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show. I'm BoJack the Horseman, BoJack the Horseman.
I will always think of you. I see your face when each day is through and days go past.
Oh, so fast,
but memories they last.
Summer, winter, year by year,
Year by year,
I'll hear this song inside my ear.
trying to restart
And be smart,
but thoughts of you haunt my heart. No, I don't wanna be alone now. Just biding my time. I need somebody dearly, and darling, you'd be sublime.
Spring and autumn, up and down.
Up and down,
I keep trying to escape this town.
and I just might.
I'll take flight. Maybe tomorrow, not tonight.